We shape our tools, and thereafter, our tools shape us. Father John. Today is another bonus episode for you bricklayers. I want to go over 9 words and phrases you've probably heard hundreds of times over the past few years. From TED Talks to tech CEOs to political leaders. They're old words, but like language itself, their meaning has been co-opted by new metaphor. I started hearing them with such frequency that I had to dig a little deeper. After hearing this list, ask yourself, how many of these words or phrases do you use? And will any of them become new tools in your lexicon? Number 1, plant a flag, literally meaning staking territory, conquest, exploration. For example, they planted a flag on the summit of Mount Everest. But then it became popular in business and startup culture to take a stand or stake a claim in idea space. More abstract. For example, a company saying, we're planting a flag in ethical design. Number 2, navigate. This is a big one. To steer a ship, once upon a time. From the Latin, navigar or navigare. I didn't bother looking up the pronunciation. For example, he navigated the narrow straits with care. And then sometime in the late 90s or 2000s, it exploded in self-help books, business books, and beyond. But now it more so means to handle or manage a complex or abstract situation. Like, my partner and I are navigating a tough breakup. Number 3, post-mortem. This one I really love. Of course, a post-mortem in medicine is really an after-death analysis. A post-mortem confirmed the cause of death. Murder. But it has since spread into tech, business, and personal reflection. A breakdown of what went wrong after the fact. We did a post-mortem on the campaign to analyze why it failed so badly. Number 4, unpack. Probably another one you've heard many, many times. What's the original use? To remove items from a bag or container. The old woman unpacked her suitcase. Now this one was used in a metaphorical sense way back in 1604 by Shakespeare. Unpack my heart with words, and that's coming from Hamlet. But this really exploded in modern times through academia and media, meaning to analyze or explore something complex. For example, whoa, that's a lot. Let's really unpack all the different facets of what that means. Number 5, to pivot. Original use, a physical turn or rotation point. For example, she pivoted on her heels and turned slightly left. In startup culture, it means a change in direction, but direction of the company, not a literal physical directional shift. For example, to change strategy without changing the overall goal. Our company shifted from software to consulting. We pivoted from brick and mortar to e-commerce. Number 6, alchemize. A beautiful term. Probably gained a lot of popularity after the 2019 book Alchemy by Rory Sutherland. In ancient Egypt, China, and medieval Europe, some people believed that you could transmute lead into gold through a secret formula. Eventually, modern chemistry, with the discovery of atomic structure, proved that you can't change one element into another chemically. It must be done through nuclear reaction. So while this actual transmutation remains infeasible without particle accelerators, the term and its subsequent metaphor live on. So the old example is they tried to alchemize lead into gold. It doesn't really have many other uses other than that. But now mindset coaches and podcasters like Chris Williamson use it all the time to transform something into something else, typically in a 1 + 1 = 3 situation. Adversity into personal growth. She alchemized her heartbreak into strength. Number 7, frame. The physical structure of something. The frame of the giant painting was ornate. But now frame is essential to narrative building, to shape how something is presented or understood. The speaker smartly framed the issue as a matter of freedom. Number 8, Distill, to purify or extract essence from a liquid. They distilled the herbs into oil. It has now become a common metaphor for simplifying complexity, especially in writing, teaching, and even philosophy, to express something in its most essential or refined form. Please, madame, distill this idea into one clear takeaway. And last up at number 9, anchor, a heavy object, splunk, to keep ships in place. The pirate ship dropped anchor. Arr. Adopted by psychology and coaching as a metaphor for grounding expressions, identity, or decisions. A stabilizing force, either emotionally or cognitively. For example, their morning ritual anchors their entire day. What words or phrases have caught your attention recently? I think we'd all be a little better off if we read a little more, listened a little harder, and had just a wee bit more fun experimenting with new vocabulary. This reminded me of a story way back in high school, when we had an assembly and a guest speaker on economics. At the end, they asked if there were any questions from the audience. No one raised their hand, so I figured, why not give it a go? And I asked, how would you deal with the fastidious nations such as North Korea? To this day, I'm glad that I tried. Fastidious was wildly out of context. However, I've never forgotten the word since. Try new words. Stretch your vocabulary. Don't focus on trying to sound smart, but simply to communicate more clearly, more beautifully. The right word unlocks your true thought. I think a lot of arguments, breakups, firings, and misunderstandings stem simply from the fact that people aren't expressing what they actually mean. They just couldn't find the right string of words in that moment. They may say something much harsher than they intended, or they say something vague or clumsy that just lands wrong, or they bottle it up completely. Words matter. Language is our bridge. It's our connection to each other. And sometimes words can be your lifeline, or a death sentence. We'll have to run a post-mortem. Some of my favorite orators include Sam Harris, Christopher Hitchens, Bari Weiss, Oprah Winfrey, Jordan Peterson, Russell Brand, and Muhammad Ali. I feel like they always say what they mean. Even if you don't agree with it, that's fine. But saying exactly what you mean is something to aspire to. All right, builders, see you every Sunday. And remember, growth equals merging your intention and your expression. Brick by brick, we'll get there. Valeu!